My friend, if there's ever been a moment where your heart felt uneasy, like something was shifting in your relationship, you're not alone. That uneasiness, that silent distance, that invisible barrier growing between you and the woman you once felt closest to, it's real. It's not in your imagination. When a woman starts to lose you, she acts differently, not with drama or noise, but with quiet changes, small signs, gentle exits from the parts of your life she used to fight, to stay in. And if you don't open your eyes and your spirit, you'll miss it. By the time you realize, she won't be trying anymore. She'll be gone, and she'll leave without a single word. At first, it looks like small things. She stops texting you, first. Stops checking in. She used to ask about your day. Now she just nods. She's not rude. She's not cold. She's just distant. And that, my friend, is more dangerous than anger. A woman withdrawing emotionally is not a woman who hates you. It's a woman who's tired. She gave you signals. She gave you chances, and you didn't listen. And now, instead of begging for love, she's learning to live without it. She starts filling her time with other things. Work, friends, hobbies, maybe even silence. She doesn't do it to hurt you. She does it to heal herself. You'll think she's distracted. You'll think she's busy, but what she really is heartbroken. She's grieving a relationship that's still alive in name, but dead in connection. You're still together in public, but in private, she's already gone. Her laughter fades. Her eyes don't light up when you walk in the room. She may still serve you, cook for you, sleep beside you. But the part of her that once saw you as her hero, that part is slipping away. You'll feel her presence, but not her affection. You'll hear her words, but they'll carry no depth. And you'll wonder why. You'll wonder where the fire went. But the truth is, she burned it all trying to stay. When a woman starts to lose you, she stops arguing. She no longer fights to be understood. That silence you hear is not peace, it's surrender. It means she's given up trying to make you see her, feel her, or fight for her. Her love hasn't turned off like a switch. It's turned down like a dimmer, slowly, over time, because of the pain that built up day by day, every missed moment. Every time you chose pride over presence. Every time you heard her words, but didn't listen with your heart. But here's the thing, she doesn't hate you. No, she might even still love you. But love, without nourishment, dies quietly. She waited for you to notice. She prayed you'd come close again. But now, she's learning to find strength in letting go. And that scares her, because she never wanted to lose you. She just wanted you to fight for her, the way she once fought for you. Now you're faced with a choice. You can ignore this message. You can let pride and denial tell you she's just going through something. Or you can look within. You can ask yourself, when did I stop showing up? When did I become the man she had to survive instead of the one she could lean on? Because the way she's acting right now, that quiet, emotionless, almost mechanical love, isn't her being heartless. It's her being empty. She poured everything she had into a space that never poured back. And now, what you do next matters more than you think. This isn't about chasing her. This is about waking up. If you truly see what's happening, if you truly care, it's time to take responsibility. To love her not with words, but with action. Not with apologies, but with consistency. And if she's already walked away, don't just chase her. Change. Become the kind of man she prayed you'd be. Not just for her, but for yourself. Because losing her might be the very thing that saves you. Let this moment not be the end, but the beginning. Let this pain awaken something in you, a higher version of you, a more honest, more present, more loving man. Because the truth is, when a woman starts to lose you, It's never about how loud she screams. It's about how quietly she stops speaking. Don't wait for her silence to be permanent. Don't wait until too late becomes your story. She doesn't need a perfect man. She needs a present one, a real one. One who sees her, hears her, and fights for her. Not just when she's walking away, but when she's been silently fading for months. She may have stopped trying, but that doesn't mean all hope is lost. The question is, will you step up? Or will you let the woman who once gave you everything become a memory? The silent shift is the first sign, and yet it's the most easily ignored. It's not a dramatic change. It's not a slammed door or a shouted insult. No, it's quieter than that. So quiet that most men don't hear it until it's too late. It starts with a delay in her responses, not just to your messages, but to your presence. Where she once turned with excitement when you entered the room, now she barely lifts her eyes. It isn't that she's angry, not yet. She's just somewhere else, emotionally, mentally. Her body is still near, but her heart has already begun to wander. It doesn't wander toward another man necessarily, but toward a space where she feels safe again, seen again, valued again. And the saddest part is, you might not even notice it's happening, because the change doesn't feel hostile, it feels distant. You might think she's tired, stressed, or just in need of space, but the truth is, she's beginning to let go. She used to laugh easily. She used to reach for your hand without thinking. She used to want your opinion on everything from what dress to wear to how she should handle a situation at work. Now she decides on her own, not because she wants independence, but because she's no longer including you in her internal world. That's the shift. She stops choosing you in the little things because you stopped choosing her without realizing it. Maybe you got busy, maybe you got comfortable, maybe you assumed she'd always be there. But women don't leave all at once. They drift, they pull away in layers. And the first layer to go is emotional closeness. She starts saying, "I'm fine," when she's not. She starts smiling in front of others, but when the lights go down, she turns away from you in bed. She scrolls through her phone, not because she's hiding something, but because she's bored and lonely and doesn't know how to tell you anymore. You might notice she starts going out more, spending time with friends, attending events, even investing in herself again. And while you might applaud her confidence, you don't see the deeper motive. She's rebuilding a life that no longer revolves around you. It's not punishment, it's preservation. Because when a woman starts to lose you, she also starts to find herself. She remembers the version of her that existed before you. And if that version felt more alive, more joyful, more full of hope, she'll start moving toward it again. She's not seeking freedom because she hates you. She's seeking it because the relationship has become a prison of unmet needs and unspoken disappointments. You didn't hear her when she cried in silence. You didn't notice when her affection turned into effort, and that effort eventually wore her out. So she stopped trying, and when she stops trying, it's not the beginning of the end, it's the final chapter. When a woman begins to pull her emotions back, it is not a loud retreat, it's a graceful disappearance. The withdrawal of emotion is rarely a dramatic scene. It's the slow unraveling of what once was intimate, sincere, and alive. She stops expressing what bothers her, not because it no longer matters, but because she has given up believing that you care enough to change. She no longer cries in front of you. She no longer raises her voice. She no longer begs for your attention or your understanding. That emotional silence, that lack of expression, is not peace. It is numbness. And it's dangerous because numbness is what follows after deep emotional exhaustion. It's her mind and heart telling her it's time to stop investing in someone who didn't notice how much of herself she gave while quietly falling apart on the inside. This kind of emotional withdrawal doesn't come out of nowhere. It builds. It builds over weeks, months, maybe years of disappointment, of feeling like she had to carry the weight of the relationship alone. There was a time when she would fight with you. She would get emotional, maybe even too emotional, just to be heard. But that woman is gone. The one who's here now is quiet, reserved, calculating. She's no longer trying to make you feel anything because she doesn't know if you're even capable of feeling what she needs you to. And so, the walls go up. Not to punish you, but to protect what little she has left inside her. The same heart that once lit up with your presence now shields itself from your indifference. You'll start to notice the distance in her eyes. She no longer shares the little things. She used to tell you about her dreams, her fears, her thoughts. Now, you get headlines, basic facts, surface-level communication. You don't get the unfiltered truth anymore because she doesn't feel safe being vulnerable with you. She's learned that vulnerability leads to disappointment, and so she keeps her guard up now, even when she's smiling. Especially when she's smiling. You'll mistake her calmness for strength, but it's really a sign of someone who's already let go emotionally and is just waiting for the right moment to walk away physically. There's a deep sadness in this stage, and if you're observant, you'll feel it. You'll feel her presence getting smaller. She hugs you less. She avoids eye contact. She doesn't laugh at your jokes anymore, not because they aren't funny, but because she no longer feels connected to your spirit. That emotional cord between you two has frayed, and she doesn't have the strength to tie it back together alone. You were once the one she ran to, the one she opened her soul to, but now she's retreating into herself. She's becoming her own sanctuary, because she no longer finds peace in your arms. She's not trying to hurt you. She's trying to survive the hurt you never saw, never asked about, or never took seriously when she showed it. There comes a point when a woman, feeling unseen and unheard in the relationship, begins to test the waters of freedom. She doesn't announce this change. She doesn't pack a bag or make threats. No, her spirit starts stepping outside the emotional bounds that once tied her tightly to you. She starts exploring who she is beyond the role of your partner. And the dangerous part is, it looks harmless on the surface. She's smiling more. She's doing things on her own. She's investing in herself, dressing differently, acting lighter. But that lightness isn't because of joy with you. It's the kind of lightness that comes from slowly loosening the emotional weight she carried for too long. You may see her blossoming and think everything is fine. But deep inside, she's testing a version of herself that no longer depends on your validation, your time, or your presence to feel whole. This new independence isn't an act of rebellion. It's a survival mechanism. After months or even years of begging silently for connection, she's realized that the only way to feel alive again is to stop waiting for you to see her. She starts spending more time outside of the house, doing things she used to love before the relationship consumed her. She laughs with her friends, not because they're funnier, but because she doesn't have to filter herself around them. She joins a class, maybe even goes out for coffee alone, not for the sake of distance, but to remember what it feels like to be a woman who doesn't exist solely to keep a relationship from falling apart. This is her soul reaching for oxygen after being buried under the slow suffocation of emotional neglect. You might find her behavior confusing. You might ask, why does she need so much space? Or, why doesn't she want to spend as much time together? But she's not trying to escape the relationship. She's trying to escape the version of herself that stayed silent for too long. She's discovering that freedom doesn't always mean walking away. It sometimes begins while she's still there beside you, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, she's in another place. A place where she is allowed to be fully herself. Again, a place where she can breathe even if you're still talking. A place where her joy is no longer dependent on your attention. And while she may not be physically distant yet, her spirit has started traveling. That's the beginning of emotional detachment. That's when she stops depending on you to be her safe place. And this, my friend, is where the danger lives. Not in her walking away, but in her learning to live without you while still standing right next to you. Because once she sees that she can survive on her own, once she realizes that she doesn't need you to feel alive, the foundation begins to crack. Not from a storm, but from a calm, steady realization that the version of her who stayed no longer feels seen by the version of you who forgot how to love her. When a woman starts to lose you, one of the clearest signs is that she stops talking. Not just the ordinary silence of a long day or the stillness of being tired. This silence is heavy. It speaks louder than words. This silence means she no longer believes speaking will change anything. She has pleaded before. She has cried. She has opened up her fears, her frustrations, her hopes. And over time, she learned that her voice fell into empty space. So she stops. She becomes quiet not because she's content, but because she's given up on being heard. She's learned that expressing her needs won't make you listen, that being vulnerable won't bring comfort, and that explaining her hurt over and over again only deepens her exhaustion. This silence is not peaceful. It is a resignation, a quiet form of heartbreak that replaces every past attempt to connect. You may ask her what's wrong, and she'll say, nothing. Not because nothing's wrong, but because explaining it feels pointless now. She doesn't want another empty apology. She doesn't want to explain her pain just so you can feel better for acknowledging it. She wants to feel seen without having to scream for your attention. And since that hasn't happened, she closes herself off, not out of punishment, but out of self-protection. She no longer wants to argue, because even arguing requires care. Even raising her voice would mean she still believes you're worth the effort. But when she falls silent, it's because the effort has run out. This silence begins to shift the entire atmosphere. Conversations become mechanical. Interactions become functional. You become two people sharing a space, a life, maybe even a bed, but no longer sharing a heart. And you'll start to feel that emptiness if you're paying attention. You'll feel her sitting next to you, but her energy will be miles away. You'll speak, and she'll nod. You'll try to joke, and she'll give you a tired smile. That's not presence, it's habit. She's still there physically, but the woman who once lit up in your arms has disappeared somewhere deep inside herself. And unless you awaken to that truth, you'll keep losing her, one silent moment at a time. This type of silence doesn't scream for rescue. It whispers that the soul has already begun to slip away. She doesn't want to explain herself anymore. She doesn't want to justify why she feels unloved. She just wants to protect what's left of her heart, because too many of her words have gone unanswered, too many of her needs ignored. And though she may still care for you, she's slowly learning how to care for herself first. So she starts choosing peace over participation. She starts valuing her own voice internally, rather than wasting it externally. And this shift in silence, this withdrawal of expression, is one of the final stages of emotional loss. When a woman stops talking, it means she no longer believes there's anything left to say that will make you love her the way she hoped you would. There's a moment in every emotionally draining relationship when a woman's soul decides to protect itself. And that moment often comes quietly, without confrontation. She begins to detach not just emotionally, but spiritually. The woman who once prayed for the relationship, who hoped for transformation, who believed you could change, now finds herself weary in places words can't reach. Her love hasn't turned into hate, it has turned into fatigue. She's tired of being the only one who cares enough to hold things together. And when that inner fatigue sets in, she begins to create emotional boundaries, not to push you away, but to finally save herself from drowning in the deep waters of one-sided connection. You may not see those boundaries right away. They don't always look like distance. They often look like politeness, passivity, and quiet disinterest. But in her heart, a decision has already begun to form. I can't keep living like this. She no longer finds joy in pleasing you. The energy she once spent trying to make you happy, trying to anticipate your needs, trying to surprise you, serve you, support you, That energy now belongs to her. She begins reclaiming it slowly. Maybe she doesn't answer your call right away, not out of pettiness, but because she's no longer obsessed with being available to someone who wasn't emotionally available to her. Maybe she doesn't rearrange her entire schedule just to be with you, not because she's falling out of love, but because she's remembering how to love herself. She starts choosing peace, solitude, and simplicity over the chaos of trying to earn your affection. She stops chasing the idea of us and starts chasing her own healing. And that healing journey is one you won't be invited to. Not at first. Not unless you show up differently. Because she's had enough of being told you care without being shown it. She's grown tired of being loved only in moments of crisis. She wants presence, not promises. She wants to feel chosen without having to ask. And now that she's learning she can find that peace within herself, the urgency to be rescued by your love fades. She's starting to realize that the real power lies in not needing you to complete her. That truth doesn't make her cold, it makes her clear. Clear on what she deserves. Clear on what she won't tolerate anymore. Clear on the difference between staying out of fear and staying out of love. You'll notice her smile changes. Not because she's faking it, but because it's no longer for your approval, it's for herself now. You'll see her getting stronger, more independent, more focused. And instead of being drawn to her, you might even feel threatened. Because the more she grows in herself, the more she realizes how much she shrank in your presence. That awareness will shift her entire energy. She may still care. She may still love. But she's no longer going to wait for you to rise to the man she believed was inside you all along. Eventually, there comes a breaking point. Not always loud, not always dramatic, but final. A point where a woman who has loved deeply, waited patiently, and forgiven repeatedly no longer feels sadness. She feels clarity. And with that clarity comes a quiet resolve. She is ready to walk away. She may not have said it out loud yet. She may still greet you with a gentle tone, still prepare the same meals, still go through the motions of shared life. But the decision is made. In her heart, she has accepted that the relationship no longer nourishes her soul, that her presence in your life has been taken for granted for far too long, that her softness was mistaken for weakness, and that the woman who once gave you everything is now preparing to take her everything back, not as revenge, but as redemption. You won't see a dramatic outburst. You won't hear threats or ultimatums. She won't try to scare you into changing anymore. That season is over, because what she needed from you was never fear, it was consistency. She needed you to show up for her heart the way she kept showing up for yours. She needed you to notice when she started to dim her light just to keep peace. She needed you to hear the words she couldn't say, the silent tears she cried, the affection she withheld only because hers had run dry. And when you didn't, she began to let go. One expectation at a time, one hope at a time, one dream at a time. And by the time you realize she's slipping away, she'll already be gone on the inside. She doesn't walk away because she stopped loving you. She walks away because she finally started loving herself. She's tired of waiting for someday while you stay stuck in good enough. She's tired of performing emotional CPR on a relationship that left her breathless. She's tired of wondering if she's too sensitive, too needy, too much, when in truth, she was simply too ignored. And so now, she makes her quiet exit. She reclaims her peace. She reclaims her time. She reclaims her power. Because being loyal to someone who doesn't water your soul is a form of self-betrayal. And she's done betraying herself just to keep something that no longer feels like home. You might try harder when you sense her slipping. You might bring flowers, say all the right words, even promise the changes you never delivered before. But here's the truth. Once a woman has emotionally detached, it takes more than gestures to return. It takes transformation. It takes reflection. It takes repentance, not in words, but in action. And even then, she may not come back. Not because she's bitter, but because she's healed. She's grown. She's seen what life looks like without waiting for a love that always felt just out of reach. And now she's walking not away from you, but toward the version of herself that she had to bury just to keep the relationship alive. When a woman starts to lose you, she doesn't always scream, slam doors, or issue warnings. Most often, she simply fades, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, until the version of her you once knew is no longer present. She detaches layer by layer, quietly building a world where she no longer needs to beg for love, attention, or respect. What begins as subtle silence becomes deep withdrawal, and what once was closeness turns to distance that feels impossible to cross. Her detachment isn't hatred, it's exhaustion, it's self-preservation. It's a decision birthed in disappointment and silence. If you see the signs, don't ignore them. Don't assume her presence means her heart is still invested. Don't wait for her to leave to finally recognize her worth. She isn't walking away to be cruel. She's walking away to come back to life. You must understand, when a woman gives her all and receives crumbs in return, she eventually learns to feed herself, to rise in her own strength, and to stop waiting for someone who never truly saw her. So if you still have a chance, if there's still time, listen with your heart, act with your soul, and most of all, love her not just in moments of regret, but with the consistency, reverence, and depth she always deserved. Because once she truly lets go, no apology, no grand gesture, no sudden change can call her back. You either show up before she leaves, or learn to live with the echo of her silence.